It is about 2 o'clock on Sunday, February 5th, 2023. And recent commentator said my cows are skinny and dying. So I wanted to look at the condition of my cows. And I don't know exactly what to look for. You know, I have exactly, 1.5 years of experience with cattle. Other than what I've seen on the internet and read in books. Okay, let's go down the list here. That's number 21. She's my fattest cow. Number 1, you really can't see the ribs. Number 2, the fat is piled up almost over the back spine. So you can't really see the back spine. The hip is barely protruding. You can barely see the hip bone. I'm sure if I went back and looked at her tail, it'd be all full of fat. Number 10 isn't dying, but she isn't fat either. You can see the bones, sometimes even the individual bones on the back there. The ribs are not too visible, but you can see the hip bone there pretty sharp. So I don't know what score that is, probably a 2 or 3. You know, if you're being generous, very generous, maybe a 4. This one's probably a 5, maybe even a 6, 21. Okay, let's go down the line here. 20, she is not one of my best cows, I'll tell you that much. She's probably second to the worst. So you can see her spine. You can't really see her ribs. You can see her hip really well. I'm sure if we got a picture of the tail there, you'd see it's almost hollow. But she is not bone skinny, but she's pretty skinny. Behind her is number 24. Number 24, you can see the ribs, you can see the spine, you can see the hip really well. I imagine her tail is hollow. Number 24 is not doing well. And if I had a whole bunch of number 24s, I would send myself to cowboy jail. Because that animal just is not doing well. Now, why isn't 24 doing well while 21 is so fat? Number of reasons. 24 gave me a calf, 21 gave me a calf, the calf died 3 days later. Number 2, I think number 24 is having a hard time eating the food now. Like her teeth are getting small. I imagine if I open her mouth, you'd see little nubs for teeth on the bottom there. Whereas 21's teeth are a lot bigger, okay? And number 3, I just think number 21 is more aggressive when it comes to food than the other cows. Number 21 is insistent that she get food, right? Let's go look at some other cows here. Ideally, after they give birth, they are at a condition score of 6, which is when they start to look really fat. Here's 19. 19's pretty good. You can kind of see the fat is starting to stack up. Let's look at her tail. It's a little bit hollow, but it's filling in okay. I'd probably say a 3 or 4. You know, honestly, it's probably a 3, but maybe a 4 if they're being generous for me. That's a calf 413. She hasn't had any babies yet. The spine is not too bad. That's another calf number 11. Somebody pooped on her head, or she got some mud on the head. There's Blue back there. Okay, you can kind of see the ribs on Blue. You can see the ridge very well. Blue's pretty skinny. Maybe a 3, maybe a 2. Okay, let's go down the line. Let's get some more cows. Temperature right now is about 68, 70 degrees. The sun is shining. I am warm in the sun here. There's barely any breeze. The ground is wet. Some spots we have really good grass growing. I don't have any examples around here, but I do have some spots where the grass is almost 2 feet tall. Okay, here's a good close look at red. Are those flies? Are the flies already coming out? It's probably time to order more of the parasitic wasps. Okay, you tell me about red. What do you think? What's her condition? Comment below. What I see is you can see the ridge. Some of it's a little bit covered by fat. You can see the hip bone. You can see some of the ribs. I'm sorry, not the ribs. You can see the spine, right? And imagine if I looked at her tail. Let me see if I can get a picture of her tail here. A little bit hollow, right? So you tell me, okay? Over here we got some more cows. Brownie's doing okay, not great. Now, did I push these cows too hard? Well, that's a matter of debate, okay? Did I push them hard? Yes, absolutely. Did I have hay? No. Did I feed them? A little bit. Not too much, just to keep them going. We had a drought for 2 years back to back. Hay prices were ridiculous. I figured maybe there was somebody out there that needed the hay more than I did. You know, this is still a hobby for me. It's not my living. If all my cows died, or if I had to sell them all because they didn't have hay, that would not be the end of the world for me. So hopefully I contributed a little bit in trying to keep the hay prices down. You know, in reality, what happened was we had a guy who said he'd get us hay, and we called him early in the spring and asked him if that was still on the table and if he was still willing to pay or take the same price. And he said, yeah, everything's good. Everything was not good. And we were the first people that he cut when he found out that he wasn't going to get enough hay, you know, which was as surprising to him as it was to us. We did not expect a drought last year. Nobody did. We all thought we'd be in recovery. The previous year's drought was really bad. Last year's drought was not good. We are no longer in drought conditions because of the rain. We were in D0 a couple weeks ago. Now because of the ice and the rain, we're not. Let's look at my field. Okay, when's the last time they were here? Oh, I'm gonna say 2 months ago. 1.5 months, 2 months ago. You do see some spots where the grass is growing pretty good. I wanted to find you one of those spots where it's growing really well. You can see over there's some grass growing pretty well. The water's still draining off the field from the ice storm. Here the grass is growing. What's going to happen here, in my experience, is in a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, where you have another freezing night coming up. This Friday and Saturday, it's supposed to freeze at night, just like 31, 32 degrees. But at some point, the grass is all going to decide it's time to grow. And it's going to grow like mad. And I will be telling you, oh man, I wish I had 20 more cows. I wish I had 50 more cows. Because I can't keep up with the grass. So let me see if I can find one of those patches. I'm not seeing one. Here, I guess this is the best example you're going to see. There's a couple places where the grass is literally 2 feet tall. Just around manure piles. Here's a good example of that. That's actually an anthill, but no, I think that might be a manure pile. You see that grass? So there is some grass that got an early start. Okay. My goal for the last grazing pass was to hold the cows back for as long as possible. Do as little damage to the pasture as possible. Give them half a day on a spot of ground and move them so they can't do any back grazing. Okay. If things were worse, if we weren't getting rain, I would have even constricted their movement even more. Gone to rather than a 3-month rotation, a 6-month rotation. And I would have just gone directly to feed, just fed them all. Probably all they can eat because they need to grow in the spring. This is when they put the weight on. And, get them fat because I need them fat going into summer. I expect the grass to grow like mad. It doesn't matter if it rains between now and June. There is enough water in the soil, I believe, that the grass will grow. There's still puddles like sitting here on the ground. I can't get any more water in the field. It should grow like mad, assuming the temperatures are ideal. So hopefully in about 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be talking about how the grass is growing too fast. Now, if 2 or 3 weeks from now, if the grass still isn't growing, then I'll be talking about the same way I am. 2 or 3 weeks from now, it will. I expect by March, mid-March, the grass will absolutely be taken off. It may come early. It may come earlier in February. I'm hoping it comes earlier. I hope we can get a long spring this year. We'll see. We'll see. It all depends on what nature wants to give me. Backup plans, if there's not enough grass, if it's not growing like I want it to, I can stop the cows from grazing. I can slow them down as much as possible, give them like tiny pieces of land so they only damage that land, and feed them. I'm prepared to feed them as much as they need to survive. Right now, the only cow that really needs feed is number 24. And I'm pretty convinced number 24 isn't long for my herd. If she doesn't put on massive gains in the next few months on grass, then she's gone. I can't do this, right? When other cows are doing quite well or decent, and this cow's not doing well, you know, that's a problem. And if number 20, maybe if I decide to get rid of 24, I'll pull her out and feed her for a month. All she can eat, get some fat on her, and then sell her, right? Selling her like this, she's probably worthless. But with a little meat on the bone, she might be okay, you know, in price. I'm not going to get very good prices for her because you don't sell old cows for any reason other than they're not giving you calves and there's no reason to keep them around, right? Well, if I don't want them, who wants them? Probably the hamburger factory, you know. School lunch program needs meat too, right? Anyway, that's where I'm at. Hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the great weather. It is going to freeze, I think, 1 or 2 more nights in February. After that, we should be seeing warmer and warmer weather. Hopefully more and more rain. And hopefully, if you tune into my channel a month from now, I'll be telling you about how I need 20 more cows or 50 more cows to eat all the grass. Have a great day, everybody. Take care, and bye-bye.